for that #1 overall seed. Breaking down, I mean, that's unprecedented.
Yeah, they don't have the head-to-head on the Saints yet. If there's more than one team, it's very complicated. Yeah. Seahawks are the one seed.
Let's get to it right here on Good Morning Football, presented by Intuit QuickBooks. Schrager, Burleson,
let's do it.
Brandt, Adams, lead block.
Lead block. Let's go.
Okay, capping off NFL Network's triple header on Saturday is the Rams and the Niners in Santa Clara, San Francisco, coming off a heartbreaking loss to the Falcons. On the final play of the game, Niners quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and his head coach Kyle Shanahan know how important it is for a bounce back against a division opponent.
I think the biggest thing is just you can't let it hang around, and you got to move on. Once you watch the film, get the corrections fixed, talk it out and everything, but once it's over with, it's over with. And this week, especially on the short week, just had to get over it quickly.
When you're on a short week, yesterday felt like 2 days for us, but it's kind of good when it's something like that. You don't have much time to dwell over it. Like I said after the game, we tip our hats off to Atlanta, but we got to play a lot better on all three phases. Got to play better, got to coach better, and you watch the tape and we know we can. So it's just about doing it.
11-3, crowded at the top, Schrags.
Let me explain this for the viewers. Okay, you're watching, you say, hey, the Saints won Monday night, and they beat the Seahawks in Seattle. Why are they the 3 seed? It's because there's more than one team that has an 11-3 record. If that's the case, you go to conference record, and in the conference record situation, Seattle currently has the #1 conference record. And yet, if the San Francisco 49ers win out, if they win these final 2 games, if they beat the Rams and they beat the Seahawks, they are the #1 seed.
They deserve it.
Very, very complicated, and that's why we love this stuff.
Let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo specifically. Yeah. It's the nightcap on our triple header on Saturday. If you look at some of these quarterbacks, your big boys are up top. Your one-namers, right? You've got your Russell, Aaron or Rodgers, and you have Drew Brees, and you've got your Dax, you've got your Kirk Cousins, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Where does Jimmy fit in? Which side? Is he a one-namer, a guy who's a made man? We've seen him put the team on his back certain points this season and get wins to get them to this 11-3 record, or does he still have so much to prove? A la Cousins.
Right now, he's James. He's a one-name guy. And this is very simple. It's very simple. We can just look at this. If you look at Aaron, Russ, and Drew, what have you done for me lately? Jimmy Garoppolo destroyed Aaron's team. Absolutely blew them off the field. Played Russ, played pretty well. I think they win that game with their kicker. And then they go into Drew, one-name only guy's house, and stared him down. I mean, that was an unbelievable game. I called it the game of the year. Jimmy Garoppolo was unflappable in this unassailable fortress of Drew Brees. Unflappable. And guys, I know the Niners have some cool weapons and stuff, but I don't see so good. Does Drew Brees, or does Jimmy Garoppolo have Devontae Adams? Does he have a Michael Thomas out there?
Has he started the playoff game yet? So should he?
Let me finish. And also, aren't we also in this next year removed from a knee injury? This is supposed to be like the warm-up year, and next year he'll be great. Yeah. There's a lot working against him, and maybe he does fall on his face in the playoffs. Maybe it's a different heat. But if you can do it right there where we're watching, you can do it anywhere. I think he belongs. I've seen enough.
Yeah, agreed 100%. Now, if we're talking about over the course of their careers, of course you have to respect the legends who have the rings. But it is a what have you done for me lately league. And the question that I have written down is, what question hasn't he answered this season? I remember early in the season you said, well, he's going to have to play better on 3rd down. Yeah. And then he proved he can do that. Yeah. He's going to have to take care of the ball. Then he proved he can do that. You're going to have to do it in the air and do it on the ground. He's won close games. He's won big games, with big points on the board. And ever since Emmanuel Sanders showed up, he's been playing even better. So for me, Jimmy G, he is Jimmy G. But until he gets to the playoffs and beat the one-name guys, I can't call him just Jimmy. He gets to a Super Bowl, I'll call him whatever he wants. They look like a Super Bowl team, but to Kay's point, what if they collapse in the playoffs? Time will tell.
But that said, you look at Drew Brees in 2009, he hadn't won anything, and he had to go through the one-namers. He had to go through Kurt Warner, Brett Favre, and Peyton Manning to get that ring. Russell Wilson in 2013, Brees and Rodgers were sitting atop the NFC, and he got it done. So I don't buy the argument that he can't get it done, but I do buy the respectful factor of not putting him up there just yet.
Got to earn it. Look, Joe Flacco wasn't considered anything until he went into Peyton Manning's building and threw a deep pass to Jacoby Jones over Raheem Moore, and then the next week went into Tom Brady's building and won the
and then we called him Flacco after that.
And then we knew that he was Joe Flacco and he was a Super Bowl MVP and he's going to get paid. Nick Foles, same thing. We wouldn't believe in Nick Foles that season until he actually made us believe by winning those games. Jimmy G is going to face the same thing he's faced his entire career. He wasn't a first-round pick. He was a backup quarterback. They traded for him for a couple. He's never going to be considered in those until he does it. And I think that this team and you're talking about the weapons, I think George Kittle might be the most important weapon any of these guys has, and he's playing at such a level where he had 13 catches last week. I think this team, this 49ers team, is going to rely on Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's going to make a name for himself in the next couple of weeks.
19-5 in his career as a starter. A guy you're calling James.
James Garoppolo. I like it.
I'm into it. On to another 11-win team. Let's talk Packers here. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They've won 8 of the last 10, yet quarterback Aaron Rodgers is still playing with a chip on his shoulder heading into Week 16.
I don't know that we have the full respect of the entire league at this point, based on some of our performances, where we got beat by a couple scores and kind of the reaction, I would assume, to those situations. But we're 7-1 at home. We have an inside track at the 2 seed. Obviously, we have an opportunity to wrap up the division next week, which guarantees a home game and probably in the 3rd seed at worst. I like our chances. I like our football team.
Taking a look at the teams with 11 or more wins. I mean, Triggs, if they win out, the Packers, where are they at?
They're going to be the 2 seed if the 49ers win out, right? Because the 49ers beat them head-to-head, and you can go through a whole bunch of stuff. But I think the 2 seed is where the Packers are looking at right now if they beat those Vikings on Monday night.
That's pretty good, right? 11-win teams. Taking a look at them here. I highlighted the Packers and the Patriots. You said something yesterday, Nate Burleson, about why are the Patriots sitting there at 11-3 so scrutinized? I think I'd put the Packers, after hearing that Aaron Rodgers sound, in the same sort of bracket. Why are they put under the microscope at this level?
Because that's what we do. We take a microscope and we pick at every little thing within these teams, especially in the month of December. We're all trying to figure out the blueprint to take all these teams down. And I just want to put things in perspective. If you're a fan and you're sticking up for your team, you can listen to every ridiculous take out there and you can respond. You can sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to fight for my team. But if you're in that locker room and your team is 11-3, let me tell you how players approach it. They're impervious to the ridiculous takes and the incomprehensible criticism, because you'll sit here and say that they're not good, the offense isn't moving. The Patriots are saying, but we're 11-3, and our resume says we can self-correct better than anybody else. I look on the sideline, our coaching staff is better than whoever you're going to throw away in the postseason. So why would you sit here and say that this year isn't the year? The reason that I'm so passionate about it is because I've been on the flip side of this. Over the last couple of years doing Good Morning Football, I would sit there and pick apart the Patriots. I would pick apart all these top-tier teams, and I'll sit here and say, okay, this is how you beat them. This is why they're not going to make it. And then, come late February, I'm looking back at my takes like, Nate, you sound ridiculous. So for me, I'm not going to fall into that space where I pick apart what these guys have built. There's a reason why they're called a dynasty. It's because they have proven to us time and time again that regardless of what you want to pick apart, they will always pick apart your favorite team when the time is right.
That's the Patriots one, and that's going to be an ongoing thing for as long as they go because we expect that standard. The Packers one, to me, is there's a great inconsistency with the way that the critics are coming at the Packers, and we're all included with this. On the one end, we're saying Rodgers isn't doing the same stuff he used to. Rodgers isn't having this elite year. Rodgers isn't the guy he was. Rodgers might not be the same Superman he was in his MVP seasons. Sure. And on the other hand, we're saying the only reason Matt LaFleur is off to a hot start is because he has Aaron Rodgers. And, it's because he's got that. So is Rodgers having a good season or not? And is LaFleur a good coach or not? Because you can't have it both ways. They're 11-3. So we can't make excuses and say, well, yeah, he's only good as a coach because he's got Rodgers. And then on the flip side, say, yeah, but Rodgers doesn't have a good year and LaFleur is not a good they're 11-3.
This wasn't supposed to work, Strix.
It wasn't supposed to work. They've exceeded expectations. They had the same quarterback last year, and they were terrible. So let's either give LaFleur some love.
I think it's LaFleur.
And put him in or let's say, hey, Rodgers has 3 interceptions on the year and is pretty good himself. Can't have it both ways. The Packers are 11-3. Let's give them a little bit of credit, or at least say that one of those guys is doing something right.
Then they lost to the Chargers and the Niners. You talk about taste in your mouth. I have bad taste in my mouth for those losses.
It's tough. And here's the deal. All these NFC teams are great. We're doing parkour over the set, trying to find a way that one of them is better. What it comes down to this time, it's style points. Who has shown off the most? The Packers, their biggest problem is they don't really have the signature win. They beat the Vikings at home. I think that was week 2. Yeah. They beat the Chiefs with Matt Moore. They just haven't done it. And the Niners thing sucks. They played one of the great teams. They got killed. So until they do Monday night, if they do a number on the Vikings, look the hell out. I will say this about the Patriots, though, doubling back. Nate, you don't need a microscope to look at them right now. You need CBS, or on Saturday, you need NFL Network. They've played 3 teams that matter in the AFC the last 6 weeks. They lost to all of them. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Texans. The only reason they're still in it is because of that Patriots logo on the helmet, which is huge. Don't get me wrong, but they are massive. Every time they play someone who matters, they lose.
Yeah.
And it's December 50th or whatever it is right now. Like, it's time to go. It's not a microscope thing.
Do you think that these guys that beat the Patriots, who had to play, in my opinion, their best game, like everybody does?
Texans, Chiefs, Ravens.
Yes.
Do you think that they can create an even better game plan to beat them
Do they
in
have
the playoffs?
to? Do they have to?
I believe they do, because the Patriots are going to take exactly what you did against them.
The rematch factor.
They're going to pick that apart as much as they can, and then they're going to create a game plan for you, specifically for you.
But based on what? Why wasn't that
Because
why suddenly this season they're going to be able to turn it on?
I'm saying these teams that beat the Patriots, Lightning is going to have to strike twice against the Pats. And oftentimes that doesn't happen, is what I'm saying.
I feel more comfortable if they're playing in Foxborough. I don't know if they're playing in Baltimore. I think I'm taking the Ravens. I don't think it's crazy.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not saying that the Pats are going to win.
Something has been perfect for a long time and is an institution and there's a logo on the helmet doesn't mean that you can't point to glaring issues. The fact of the matter is this Patriots offense is barely doing better than the Jags and the Bengals. They're at the bottom of the league as far as their offense is concerned. You talk about kicking more than anybody on this show, maybe on the network, maybe in sports media. Are you not glaringly concerned about the kicking issues with the Patriots?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's big. It's a big deal. And kickers put people in Super Bowls and put people in the Hall of Fame, and nobody knows that better than the Patriots. The question that's going to determine the AFC this whole season is, can the Patriots patch together this offense over the next few weeks? Can Josh McDaniels et al. Make the Jacoby Myers thing happen? Can N'Keal Harry have a huge catch in the divisional round? That's the question about all of these things.
Riddle me this. Bills get a win in Foxborough, Week 16. Are you off the band? Are you off of the yes logo?
That would mean a
blue
3
chip
seed
stock?
probably for the Patriots, if not a division.
Or are they still going to the ship?
The honest answer is it depends on the nature of the win. I need to see something from the Patriots offense, but the easy answer is I still think the New England Patriots will be in the title game. I still think they'll be there. I'm not saying they'll win it, but I think they'll be there.
I love it. Our table's divided, Triggs, it looks like.
It is. If that AFC Championship game is elsewhere than New England, and it was last year, makes it really interesting.
Hard time thinking they'll pull through. Rams, Niners.
Yeah.
The nightcap on a crazy Saturday of football. Everybody here at the breakfast table, Kyle, Kay, Nate, Peter, all involved in this triple header right here on the Niffle. Good Morning Football Weekend kicks it off at 9 a.m., followed by Game Day Morning at 10:30. Game start at 1 p.m.